to the All Shows Nigerian channel, where I review Nollywood movies, series, and reality TV shows. Today I'll be reviewing the 5th and 6th episodes of Season 1 of the African Netflix reality show titled Young, Famous and African. Alright, so the way this review will work is I'll take my time to summarize both episodes in this video for people who may not have had a chance to watch it, and then I'll give my take and overall ratings of the episodes at the very end of this video. So with that being said, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this review. So the beginning of the 5th episode continues from where we stopped in the 4th episode, which involved Annie and Zari in a very heated verbal argument. Annie leaves the setting, and Zari goes on a full-blown rant by herself for a whole 5 minutes about how insecure Annie is. Zari ends up texting Kanye about what had just occurred and soon leaves as well. In the next scene, Nadia is back from her trip, and Kanye invites her for a private aerial hoop class. Kanye catches Nadia up to speed on what's been going on with the group while she was away. She tells her about Annie and Two-Face's vow renewal plan and the current beef between Zari and Annie. Nadia is shocked at the level of disrespect Zari is showing towards Annie and Two-Face's relationship and sides with Annie on the situation. In the next scene, Kanye meets up with Zari to discuss in detail Zari's chaotic lunch with Annie. Kanye tries to explain to Zari from the perspective of Annie how she felt Zari disrespected Annie in front of her husband. Kanye also tells Zari that she feels Annie is also projecting some of her marital issues onto Zari. And I agree on this to some extent. Yes, Annie obviously has some insecurities about her marriage that she needs to work on, but at the same time, I feel like Zari knew exactly what she was doing at the time with Two-Face and is hiding her hands now as if she didn't have a role to play in how Annie perceives her right now. When I started watching this show, I honestly expected Zari and Annie would have been the ones to be bonding the most, because Zari obviously was in a similar situation with Diamond years back and was able to break free from it, thankfully. She's literally the right person to give sound advice to Annie, but I feel like the way she's going about it isn't the right way, because the way she does it is coming off as a mean and judgy and two-faced person. No pun intended. But jokes aside, I really just wish that both ladies would just set their differences aside and just get along. Comment down below your thoughts. But anyways, Zari sees where Kanye is coming from and decides to give Annie the benefit of the doubt. On the other hand, Annie meets up with Swanky to discuss the same situation. Swanky sees where Annie is coming from with her feelings and accusations and decides to have a conversation with Zari in order to understand things from her own perspective as well. Kaylee soon joins them and the three of them start talking about Quentin and what he had told Swanky about Kaylee being all up in his business. Swanky advises Kaylee to give Quentin some space so that he does more of the chasing instead of her. Kaylee agrees to do this and decides to put it to a test. Nadia soon joins them also and they all start talking about Andile's all-white party and how all his baby mamas were present. Nadia is surprised by this as she feels that Andile was so messy for doing that, and they all end up catching up on other things and soon go their separate ways for the rest of the day. In the next scene, Andile takes Zari on a date. They are both being very flirty and seem to enjoy each other's company. They are also both aware of the type of chemistry they have with one another and seem to try to explore it further. I personally don't see the supposed chemistry between these two. I feel like this love or whatever storyline between the two of them is very forced and they are producing fake scenes for us, the viewers. I get that reality shows aren't all the time real and have a moderate level of being scripted sometimes, but I just hate when it's so obvious to us, the viewers. If they think they are fooling us with this rehearsed love story, then they must really think that we, the viewers, are slow or something. But comment down below your thoughts on this. So anyways, in the next scene, Kanye meets up with Annie for a double date with their men. Kanye jokingly and shadily asks for Annie's permission to pull Two-Face aside for a conversation, to which Annie's response is a go-ahead. Kanye doesn't feel like Two-Face is aware of how his wife is invested in and sacrifices for their relationship. Two-Face acknowledges that he has wronged his wife in the past, and he is now making a conscious effort to make up for all the hurt and humiliation he put Annie through. At the end of the conversation, Two-Face appreciates Kanye for the talk and genuinely he appreciates Kanye for talking to him about Annie and genuinely caring and looking out for his wife in general. In the next scene, Andile brings Annie all the way to Soweto to explore the city and speak to her about the certain situation with Zari and how he feels he's in the middle of it all. Andile informs Annie that he has feelings for Zari, and Annie finds the revelation almost laughable. Annie feels the entire thing is messy because Andile is close friends with Diamond. Andile agrees with Annie on this and decides to rethink his whole pursuit of Zari. In the next scene, the gang is meeting up to support Swanky at his cover reveal party. Swanky makes his grand entrance and the whole squad is here for it. Quentin isn't in attendance and Kaylee informs the group that he is out DJing, even though the real reason was because they both weren't getting along at that time. The night goes on well regardless and everyone celebrates Swanky on his success. In the next scene, Nadia meets up with Andile for dinner to discuss all that she's been hearing about him and Zari. Nadia makes it known to Andile that she feels he's been a hypocrite by pursuing Zari, when he was one of the people that told her to stop what she was pursuing with Diamond earlier because it would have been weird for Zari and the group. Andile says that he feels everyone is against Zari and wants to be some sort of solitude and peace for her, even if it's not necessarily a sexual type of relationship. Nadia tells Andile that his actions will soon spiral against him with Diamond if he continues down this path. In the next scene, Swanky meets up with Quentin and his son to go motorbike riding. Swanky uses the opportunity to ask about Quentin's relationship with Kaylee and where they currently stand. Quentin reveals that he and Kaylee had been having a couple of rough days and that she had overstepped her boundaries with a situation that involved his work. He also further explains that this was the reason why he missed Swanky's event, as Swanky urges him to talk out his issues with Kaylee and stop avoiding the situation. On the other hand, Kaylee and Nadia meet up to discuss Quentin. Kaylee feels like Quentin is working too much, particularly with someone that he has had sexual dealings with in the past, and she had found out about it on her own before he told her about it. She also feels like he's not making time for her and their relationship, and Nadia sides with Kaylee on the matter and feels like it was a sketchy thing for Quentin to do, to work with his ex. Their conversation soon ends and Kaylee is unsure of whether she still wants to be in a relationship with Quentin. In the next scene, Swanky meets up with Zari to talk about her and Annie's lunch fiasco. Zari still stands on her point that she feels like Annie was the initial aggressor of the conversation and that Annie was projecting her insecurities on her. Swanky feels like Zari and Annie's feud is based off misunderstandings and urges Zari to try and have a conversation with Annie to straighten things out, and Zari agrees to this. In the next scene, Quentin and Kaylee meet up with their therapist. They inform the therapist that they had a fight recently and went in communication with each other for a whole week. They soon get into an argument in the session and Kaylee feels like boundaries need to be established and Quentin needs to show her more respect. Quentin ends up apologizing to Kaylee for his recent behaviors and she is soon accepting of the apology. In the next scene, Swanky organizes a meetup for Annie and Zari to hash things out. The energy seems very off between the ladies and there is a lot of tension in the air. Zari apologizes for overstepping her boundaries in certain situations with Annie and her husband, and Annie doesn't seem to be hearing any of it. Annie gives a fake apology in response and says all is forgiven, even though it's very clear from her demeanor that she isn't over any of it yet. Both ladies can tell that the apologies on both sides aren't sincere, but they are willing to move past their issues, and with that, the episode comes to an end. Comment down below what you guys think so far about this show, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe in the process. Alright, so the next episode starts off with Zari visiting Andile at his apartment to drop an invite for an event she was having soon. Unfortunately, Andile makes it known that he won't be able to make her event, but because it was the same day of his father's memorial. In the next scene, the rest of the group meets up for Zari's event, which is basically a 2-day ride and experience on one of South Africa's most luxurious trains called the Blue Train. Nadia and Annie are nowhere to be seen, and after waiting for some time for them, the rest of the group decides to leave without them. In the next scene, Andile visits Nadia at her apartment, after learning from her that she didn't go for the train ride. Nadia opens up to Andile about her daddy issues and how it was part of the reasons why she had a hard time navigating her relationships with men in her life. Andile tries to convince Nadia to begin the search of finding her biological father, but Nadia is clearly not ready to deal with that part of her life. So the pairs soon go on to discuss lighter topics for the rest of the afternoon. Meanwhile, on the train, Annie is still nowhere to be found. The rest of the cast take it that she isn't joining them anymore and carry on with their things for the rest of the evening. While Zari is giving her welcome speech, the train stops and we soon find out that it's because of Annie. Everyone except Zari is excited to see Annie, and once Annie is settled in, Zari picks up her welcome toast from where she had left off. Kanye's demeanor soon changes as she doesn't like the tone Zari is using while giving her speech. Soon after, they all head to their various rooms to freshen up and get ready for dinner. Once dinner time arrives, they all regroup in their pajamas to eat together. The vibe is still awkward from earlier, but the group is able to make it through for the rest of the night without any arguments. So the next day, the group kicks off the day with visiting a safari. During the trip, they see some lions and hyenas, and everyone, especially Annie, are virtually on the brink of shitting their pants because of how close their vehicles are to the wild animals. Not gonna lie, this part was very funny because all of them were literally fearing for their lives at some point and screaming, this is too close for comfort, this is too close for comfort. And honestly, I don't blame them because I'll probably have done the same or even worse if I was kept in a similar situation. I'd love to visit a safari one day with my friends though. But comment down below your thoughts and, comment down also if you've ever been to a safari. So anyways, after the excursion, the team sits down for dinner. Zari finally addresses the group on why they had a sudden change in vibe the previous night when she was making her toast. Kanye then uses the opportunity to call out Zari on how self-gratifying her speech was to them last night. Now, you all know that I'm not the biggest fan of Zari, but however, this speech that everyone is going on and on about being prideful didn't sound anything like what they're making it out to be. It sounded like a regular speech a normal host gives to their guests, and honestly, I didn't see anything wrong with it, to be honest. I personally feel like Kanye is projecting onto Zari and grasping at straws on this matter, and just trying to fault Zari for anything that she did. Comment down below your thoughts on what you guys thought about this scene. So anyways, Kanye and Zari go back and forth on the matter, and Quentin defends Zari by making a point that during Kanye's speech at her own glam event in episode 1, she had made numerous speeches to her audiences. So calling Zari out now when it's Zari's event was her being hypocritical, and I honestly agree, because Kanye isn't the most humble person in my opinion. If someone like Annie or Kaylee were the ones that had an issue with Zari's speech, I would understand. But Kanye being the one to call out Zari just makes her look like a huge hypocrite, so I definitely agree with Quentin. Anyways, tempers run high, and Zari and Kanye aren't able to resolve anything. The group is clearly divided now, as Kaylee and Quentin side Zari and Swanky and Annie side Kanye. Dinner soon ends on a sour note, and they all head back to the train to retire for the rest of the night. Meanwhile, back in Johannesburg, Andile and Nadia meet up for dinner. Nadia informs Andile that she and her boyfriend had recently broke up, and he was the first person that she was telling. Andile tries to comfort his friend and cheer her up in his usual way during this sad and emotional time for her. So anyways, in the next scene, Zari is hosting a Gatsby party and casino night for the final night on the train. There is still a lot of animosity and divide within the group, and soon enough, Swanky decides to take the role of a spokesperson and tries to get the group to hash things out once and for all. Quentin checks Swanky on his tone with the group, and they soon start arguing with each other. Yeah, low-key, I feel like Swanky was honestly extremely intoxicated because I didn't see why he was just shouting at them or shouting at everyone for no reason, rather than getting his point across in a more civil manner. I feel like he was literally just at 100 for no reason, and I definitely agree with Quentin that he was doing way too much and needed to calm down with his tone. Because at the end of the day, he isn't addressing kids, but rather these people are much more older than him. Anyways, Kanye tells Zari that she feels Zari brings a lot of chaos and confusion into the group, and that a lot of the things that everyone had been having issues about revolved around Zari. Zari makes it known to Kanye that she feels like Kanye is intimidated by her presence, and that everything she is calling her out on is Kanye just projecting her own behavior onto her. And with that, that's how the episode comes to an end. Whew, that was an exhausting episode. So much chaos and drama for no reason. And honestly, I agree with Zari and Quentin about what they said this entire episode. I personally feel like Kanye, Annie, and Swanky ganged up on Zari on this episode for no logical reason. There was no need to be rude to her during her own trip, and it definitely felt like I was watching some sort of high school drama. Definitely not cool, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I side with Zari on this one. The three of them, especially Swanky and Kanye, were so unhinged this episode, and it was definitely not a good look. Overall, I'll be rating this both episodes a total of 7 out of 10. Comment down below your thoughts, and if you like my new style of double recap reviews for series and reality shows. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you get notified every single time your girl posts a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.